What's up, y'all? Welcome back, A Fitness Live portion. Happy Easter, everyone. Easter morning, 6 a.m. Going live for you here. Welcome back. Today we're talking about intensity levels and what intensity level you need to get huge. This is an interesting topic, so I'm wondering where we're going to go with this one.
I think it could go to a lot of different places. I think we'll cover, at least I'm planning to cover just like mentally, what are you going through to hit those intensity levels? And then I know we definitely want to cover what are some intensifying techniques that will help you get that level of growth that you're looking for.
Yep. So this is going to have a timeline on it. As a beginner, anything works. Anything. If you're coming off the couch, it is more resistance, more stress, more stimulus than when you're sitting on the couch playing your video games, right? So as a beginner, your first couple months, everything works. Everything. However, it's going to eventually stop working.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to change something. This is progressive overload. If you're not progressive overloading, you're not going to get better. And the more advanced you get, the more intense you have to get.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with James. The rate of growth is going to be exponential coming off the couch versus an intermediate or advanced lifter. But that's great. So if that's where you're at to start with, embrace it, use it. You're gonna, a year from now be like, whoa, like I gained a ton of muscle mass. And that's awesome.
Yeah. So the term hard gainer gets thrown around an awful lot. In my opinion, are you really a hard gainer, or did you just make it to the intermediate and advanced levels and then don't know what to do?
Right.
Because what you had been doing the whole time as a beginner has been working, and now all of a sudden it stopped working.
Right.
And now you're calling yourself a hard gainer. Are you really a hard gainer, or are you just not going harder?
Right. All right. So in terms of intensity and how it feels, everyone's going to be different. For me, it's this like gut busting effort. I mean, it is not something that you naturally want to do. In fact, your body has defense mechanisms to try to prevent you from reaching this level of anguish and intensity during your workout.
It is painful. I mean, it's very painful. And I get this question a lot. It kind of cracks me up a little bit. It's, why are all these science guys not huge? And there's a breakdown because they do know the knowledge. They're putting the knowledge out there on their social media, their YouTube, whatever. And most of them are correct in what they're saying. But if you look at their physiques, they don't know how to apply that knowledge to their physiques. They don't want to go through the pain of the intensity it takes to build that physique to the next level. And they don't want to do it. You know, there's a disconnect. They have the knowledge, but they don't apply it hard enough to get to that level of intensity. I get that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of times people think they are at that level of intensity, but they just haven't unlocked that next level of intensity. And again, it's really hard as a coach, as a trainer, to know where your client is. Like only they truly know where they're at and if they, can hit that next level. And you really just have to push yourself and go for it.
It's gut busting. It hurts. If you just did a set and you're not out of breath, you didn't do it right. You didn't put your intensity in there. If you're 15 minutes into your workout and you're not sweating, you're not going hard enough. You're not intense enough. You're not lifting enough weight. You're not doing enough reps, et cetera, et cetera. You have to progressive overload. I mean, if you're going in there and doing the same stuff, you're going to get the same results.
Right. And a lot of the machines or things you're doing, they have fail-safe built in. Like, so if you're on the leg press, you can set the bump stop. So instead of crushing yourself when you fail, it's going to rest up against that stop. You're okay. You can still get yourself out of there. And so that's one of the things I see with clients a lot. They'll be on the leg press. They'll do their 10 reps that I asked for, but really they probably had 12, 13 in the tank. We could have went heavier. A lot of times we'll go ahead and we'll do another set. We'll do another set because they're just not hitting that failure point. And for me, I always say like, hey, if you can push it up and rack those safeties on that leg press and you didn't fail against that bump stop, then you probably didn't hit the level of intensity that I was asking you to hit. Now,
you hear that? That's serious intensity.
Yes.
If you can push the leg press back up to rack it, you didn't go hard enough.
Right. You probably had 1-2 more reps in that tank. And so that's kind of the level of intensity we're talking about.
Just think about that for a minute. Are you doing that on your leg press?
Right.
I bet you're not.
Or do you just get to 10 or 12 reps and say, okay, I'm done?
Right. I did the prescribed reps. Right. I'm good. So no, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
If you get your prescribed reps, 10, 15, whatever it is,
right.
and you're not struggling, you're not hurting, you're not putting every bit of effort in to get the last couple reps, you're too late.
A lot of times, if for some reason I did end up going too late, didn't really realize it, I'll keep repping until I do hit that failure point. I won't throw the set away. Now, if I'm hitting like 20, 30 reps, I'll cut it because that's a warm-up set, actually. But, yeah.
So I've been on the prescription lately. If I get 10 reps of something, I up the weight and go to 6 reps.
Right.
The following week, it'll be 7, then 8,
keep
then
working
9,
it.
10, and then go heavier again. So every 4 weeks, I'm going heavier on everything.
Right.
And it's been consistent for a couple months now. And hopefully it keeps rolling. You know,
yeah.
I'm going to give it all I got to keep it going.
I know we've talked about it too. Like you have to track it in a log or somewhere, type it in your phone because you'll forget. I mean, you're only human. You're only going to remember so much. You'll, hey, this feels good this week, but really it's less than you did the week before.
And it's a fail safe.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling not very good that day,
you're like,
these things happen, look up your weights. You have to hit those weights, those reps. I don't care if you feel tired. I don't care if you're wiped out.
Right.
You got to hit your weights. You got to hit your reps or take yourself home, take a rest day, come back the next day, hit your weights, hit your reps.
But yeah, the number one thing I see that people do, and I'll have to call myself out because I'll do it every once in a while, is that it will start to burn, it will start to hurt, and you say, okay, good. I hit the intensity. That's not the intensity. That's the beginning of the intensity that you need to achieve.
Yep. I forget who said it. It might have been Lee Haney. My reps start. I start counting when it starts burning.
Right.
That's when I do 10.
That might have been Arnold.
I don't even start counting until it might have been Arnold. I don't even start counting until it starts burning, and then I do 10. That's intensity.
Right.
That's the period. That's the point. Most people don't want to take it. Once it starts hurting, then they go, "Oh, I'm done."
Right. Now there's a difference between hurt and, oh no, one of my ligaments or tendons are going to tear. Like you do need to know your body and know what bad pain is, but I'm telling you, it's going to hurt if you're hitting the level of intensity. You're not going from 0 to all out max. You definitely need to warm up. You need to get a couple, 3-4 sets, warm up, whatever you need to adequately warm up. Like I definitely can't go out from, nothing on leg day to having like 8 plates per side on the leg press or, squatting 185, whatever. Like I have to do sets leading up to that.
Absolutely. Warm up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I was younger, I could go in there and bang it out right away. But a little older now, I have to warm up.
Sometimes for me, too, it's a mental warm up. It's, even though my muscles may be warmed up, I mentally have to start to feel that level of weight and wrap my mind around what that's going to feel like before doing my all-out set.
Great point. I warm up on the bike for 10 minutes usually. And what I'm doing is get myself mentally prepped.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take my workout book with me. I'll go through it. I look at the weights. I look at the reps. I know what I'm doing. I know what weights I have to do, what reps I have to do, and how much more I have to do before I even get out to the gym. It's already strategized. I'm already thinking about my battle plan. I'm getting hyped up. I'm getting myself excited,
Absolutely. I know for me, in the moment when I'm doing that all-out intensity, my last set that I'm going to do that day, my mind kind of goes to this survival mode. I'm thinking about everything and nothing all at the same time, if that makes sense. Like, it's just, hey, if I don't get this weight up, I am not going to survive. And that puts you almost in this fight or flight situation.
Yeah.
You're recruiting all those type 2 muscle fibers, those fast twitch fibers, and you're just moving that weight because in your mind, it is going to crush me. I will not survive this if I do not move this weight. And that's kind of where my mental state is in that moment.
It's 100% willpower. And, I just bought another Mike Mentzer book, so I'm kind of going to quote him quite a bit here coming up. But in that book, Mike Messer says, your will builds your body.
Yeah.
Your willpower builds your body. Your mind, your willpower is what builds your body. That's what takes you to the intensity levels
Absolutely.
you need to have. If you don't have the willpower, you're not going to get to those levels. Look at the elite physiques. Look at how rare they are.
Yeah.
Those guys go hard, super hard, and continually go harder and continually make gains. I mean, I'm an IFBB professional. If I saw Bumstead out in public, and I have seen him before, I'm in awe. Just the sheer size. He's tall too, by the way. The sheer size he carries, not to mention the perfect proportions.
Right.
Just because he goes so hard and intense in his workouts and continually steps it up every single workout, exactly what it takes. You want to talk about some intensifying techniques?
Yeah. So there will come a point where almost like your level of strength probably surpasses, what your ligaments and tendons and everything else, your bones can handle. And at that point, you might not be able to hit the level of intensity that you need to for growth. And so implementing intensifying techniques can help you still hit that level of intensity while not having to have that extreme amount of load necessarily. So there's different ways. The first one's, the superset. So pre-exhaust, post-exhaust.
What is a superset?
So supersets when you take two exercises and combine them together with no rest in between.
Okay. So that would be pre-exhaust, post-exhaust.
So for instance, James. On leg day, you could do leg extensions for the quads to pre-exhaust them before going to the leg press where you're going to have the heavier weights.
So you want to do an isolation before a compound.
Right.
For pre-exhaust.
Yes.
What about post-exhaust?
Post-exhaust, you could do the compound first and then go into your isolation. If you like, just fatigue like every fiber you got left.
So those are two different ways to do supersets, both very intense, extremely intense. One of my favorites is rest pause. I probably stole this from Camille because it's one of her favorites as well. There's two different ways to do this. The first one I think is kind of weak. So after you hit failure, you rack the weight, count down 10 seconds, then do it again till you hit failure. Rack the weight, count down 10 seconds, then do it again till you hit failure. To me, that's the weak way to do it. The hardcore, extreme way to do it is to put your max weight on the bar. For example, bench press. You put your max weight on bench press, 400 pounds, whatever it is. You do one rep, bam, that's your maximum weight. You only get a 10-second break before you're doing it again. And then another 10-second break before you're doing it again with your absolute max weight. And you're not doing this without a partner, by the way.
Right.
Because if you do fail, which is very likely, they're going to have to help pull it off your neck.
Yeah, I would say the first way that you described is a safer approach if you did not have that partner.
Yes.
But rest pause would probably be my number one thing. You're set up in the position to do the work. You're cranking those reps out. You've fatigued yourself a lot of times. Mike Menser talks about this too. Like he gets to a point where he can't hit that level of intensity just due to the lactic acid buildup. So by doing that rest pause, you're letting all that lactic acid flush back out of the tissue, and then you can continue on with your set and hit that level of intensity.
Indeed. And again, I'm going to emphasize it is your maximum weight.
Right.
If you can do 2 reps, you are too light.
Right.
If you're really, truly doing this rest pause correctly, you're going to make some serious gains because it is intense.
Right.
Super intense.
One of the isolation exercises I like doing that on is actually leg extension. I think you can, because you really do start to get really pumped as you're bringing those legs up. Yeah. So if you just take that 10 seconds, you can usually continue on with your set. But
what's another good one?
Drop sets. James, if you're James's client, you are familiar with the drop set. Oh yeah.
I like drop sets. They're one of my favorites as well. So drop set is you take your sets, let's say curls. You do 10 curls. You go to failure at 10. Lighten the weight. Do 10 more because it's lighter. You can do more. Go to failure again. It's going to take some time to figure out your weights. So if you're doing 12 to failure, don't sweat it. Next time you come back,
Yeah,
you know to go
heavy.
heavier. And then do it 3 times. So you're going to failure 3 times, just making the lighter each time you do it.
Absolutely. I like doing drop sets, especially on my shoulder day. There's nothing like that delt burn when you're hitting a drop set. And I usually will do it as a finisher because I want to go all out intense. There's not a whole lot of research that supports doing multiple drop sets. So, pick 1 or 2 sets and do it. But I wouldn't really do that for every single exercise that you're doing during your entire workout.
I like to throw them in more during pre-contest when I'm dieting because you're burning more calories with the higher reps. Right. And rest pause, you're doing 1 rep. 1 rep, for real. Drop sets, supersets, you're doing 20, 30 reps. So I try to keep them mostly pre-contest and then do negatives and rest pause on the off season when you're trying to make gains.
Oh, that's a good one. So negatives, that's
What's a negative?
All right, so you're doing your reps. So let's say you're curling and then you're gonna lower it slow, so that eccentric part. And actually you're stronger in the negative portion of the rep. So that's why it's so beneficial. So a lot of times, let's say if you were curling, I would take it to failure. And then if I had a partner, I would have them help me bring those weights back up and lower slow. But if not, kind of heave it up or cheat it up and then release slow. All right, got a comment here.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the comment says one of the best is mechanical advantage drop sets. The subcategory of it is chest reps as a drop set.
Cheat reps.
Yeah, so mechanical advantage drop set. We actually have a video on this for biceps. It's where you're doing like a traditional bicep barbell curl. And then you go into the drag curl. And so, it's a mechanical drop set.
Very good point. So I'm going back to Menser here. According to Menser, you don't hit true failure until you fail on the negative portion of the rep. So we just skipped over isometric holds. That's the second part.
Yeah.
So you go to failure, then you're going to hold it until you can't hold it anymore. Half mass, we're on curls now. And then you're going to finish with a negative. So you hold it until you can't hold it any longer. Then you try to fight it back up as it's going down while you're failing on the negative portion of the rep. That is true failure.
Yeah.
The positive failure, if you go and you curl it and you stop when you can't get the last one up, that's positive failure. That's not true failure. You still have the isometric hold. You still have the negative portion of the rep. And again, this is the intensity you need to bring when you get to the advanced level of the physique building.
Absolutely. That mechanical tension, you have to have it in order to grow. You have to create that stressor on the fibers.
Yeah. So and the more advanced you get, the harder you got to go. Because what worked last week will not work this week.
Yeah, just keep in mind, harder doesn't always mean heavier. There will come a point where you have to incorporate these techniques we're talking about.
Sure. Good question. So the question is, do you only apply these techniques in the last set of your exercises? That's a very good question. Depends on your technique and your style. I would say for Camille, she's doing it her last set. Absolutely. Yeah. For me, I'm doing it 2, maybe 3 sets. But again, if you're doing rest pause, I'm only going to do that 1 time.
Absolutely.
It's 3 sets of 1. But I'm only doing that 1 time, and I will be completely wiped out, completely smoked after that. I mean, imagine deadlifts. Do your max deadlift for 3 reps with only a 10-second rest in between. You're done.
Yeah. Now, if we're talking like supersets, I will do that every time because I'm using pre-exhaust technique. So I'm not having to go as heavy in my deadlift or my leg press or my bicep curls, whatever.
Yeah.
So in that case,
supersets are used often to save your joints, especially as you get older and stronger. You want to pre-exhaust to try to save your joints some. That does make sense.
I mean, a lot of time your ligaments, tendons, bones, they will grow stronger. They will adapt to the loads and stuff that you're trying to build, but that takes time. So there will be a lag in between when they can catch up to the rest of your muscle fibers and things.
Yeah. So if you're naturally strong, you might have some ligament tissue issues until they catch up. I personally am not naturally strong. I've had to gain every bit of strength I've ever had So the ligaments haven't really been an issue for me over my career because I've had to earn every ounce of strength that I've gotten.
I would say I'm kind of naturally strong.
Yes, you are.
I can move some weight.
Yes, you can. So Camille has to be careful, and she does have joint issues.
Mhm.
I'm not saying it's because of the heavy weights,
Right.
but it could be.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times I'm like doing a set, I'm like, man, James, my bones hurt. So in that case, like I've definitely been trying to incorporate more of the rest pause, more of the pre-exhaust, just because I do want to protect those and let those ligaments and joints and things catch up.
Sure. And even with supersets, you're still tracking. You're still tracking your weights, and you're still going heavier on each one.
Absolutely.
You're just pre-exhausting. So just because you're supersetting doesn't mean you're not going heavier every week. You're still going heavier every week on both lifts.
In fact, both lifts, I try to go to a failure point. So if I can do more than 10, then I'm raising that pin. I'm adding more weight the next time I do it. And again, both parts of the superset, I'm trying to add more weight. I'm trying to go to failure on both.
Yeah. One of my favorite sayings is, as far as fitness goes, is you get out of this what you put in. It's not like work where you work your butt off all day long for nothing, no raises, no promotions, no nothing. It's not like that. If you put the work in, you put the effort in, you will get the results. Mr. Menser again says your intensity level is the direct result of your results.
Yeah.
So the more intense you are, the more results you're going to get.
Absolutely. And I can always tell. I'll come in from a workout. I'm like, James, I'm vibrating inside. Like you can almost feel like down the cellular level that your tissue is like vibrating. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's like a pretty wild feeling when you hit that level of intensity.
Yep. Bring it. Bring it, y'all. Make sure you're bringing that intensity if you want the gains.
Yeah.
You know, if you've been a beginner and you made gains for a year or two and now you're stalled, you're not a hard gainer.
Yeah.
You just need to go harder.
Gut busting effort, y'all.
Yep. And that's to me, this is where most people fail. They don't bring the intensity level they need to. You know, whether it was they made gains as a beginner and they don't know what to change or how to change, or they just said, I made so many gains in 2 years, I'm just going to keep doing the same thing for the next 18 years and stay the same.
So there's a comment on there about full body training, doing a set for every body part, but doing drop sets, rest pause, mechanical advantage. I absolutely agree with that. So if you're doing total body, a lot of times it's hard to adequately hit each body part in the amount of time. You don't want to be there for half a day.
That's why I recommend not doing total body.
Yes, but if for some reason you did, you're absolutely right there on the comment. Like you would want to hit intensifying techniques to, it's not always about time in the gym. It's about intensity in the gym. Absolutely. So by adding those techniques into that full body workout, you're probably able to adequately hit those muscle body parts adequately.
And Camille hit it. It's not about doing more. It's about going harder.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in the gym for 4 hours, number one, you're not going hard. You can work out hard or you can work out long. Common sense tells you you're not doing both.
Yeah, I think we talked about it in another video. There was a time where I was spending like 3 hours in the gym working out a day, and I was just overtrained to hell. And so I eventually switched over to different style of training. Now, there's times I'm only out there half hour, 45 minutes, but I'm like all out dead after I'm done because that level of intensity was there for that 45 minutes.
Right.
So.
And again, this is another Menser thing. You have a stick of dynamite. You can tap that thing for days with a hammer. It's not going to do nothing, right? You give it one good smack, bam, it's going to blow up. Same thing with your muscles. If you're in the gym tapping them, you can go for weeks, not do nothing. You go in the gym, give it one good whack, bam, your muscles going to grow.
That's right. All right, y'all. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video.
Yep. Go
hard. Get those gains.
Go harder than you did before. I mean, that's what it breaks down to. Go harder than what you did before.
Yeah.
As a beginner, intermediate, and advanced, it's just going to get harder the more advanced you get.
Yeah.
Because you just have to keep going harder and harder.
And make sure you get that mind right. If you don't believe that you can go in there and hit that level of intensity and achieve it, you're not going to.
I've said it before, we're warriors. We just choose the gym as our arena to fight in, not the battlefield, not the octagon, not the ring. We choose the gym to do our battles in. We are all warriors. We're all fighters. You know, we just choose the gym as our arena. That's all.
All right. Happy Easter, y'all.
Yes.
Go out there and get those gains.
Hey.
Oh, come on.
Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Appreciate it. We're here for you. If you got any questions, comments, leave us. We'll make a video for you. And again, happy Easter and thanks for tuning in.
Bye.